You are live.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is time for yet another Printify webinar. And I am super excited because today we get to cover the topic of all over printing, AOP, designs, and products. And we are gracious enough to be joined by our special guest today. His name is Hicham Amrani. He is the CEO and founder of Subliminator. And Subliminator is one of our most favorite print providers we have in our network. Some of you may be familiar with him. How you doing, Hicham? How you doing today?
Very good, Martin. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Looking forward to doing a deep dive into the universe of all over printing. Okay. But first, we are live, and we will also be answering your questions live at the end of today's presentation. So what I'd like to do right now is let's test out that chat feature for everybody. So everybody joining in, please put into the chat, let me know where you're joining us from, city, state, province, country, wherever it may be. Type that into the chat so we can all make sure it's working and we can all see where everyone is joining us from. So do that right now. And additionally, since we're talking about the chat right now, as we go along with today's presentation, you're going to have some questions, and no problem, we'll address those at the end of the presentation. So type those in as we go along, and our moderators, Christophs and Sarang, sitting right over there. Hi, guys. Okay, they're going to collect them, and we will address them at the end of today's at the end of the presentation. And maybe Hicham's going to do such a great job of explaining everything about all over print and products and design that we won't have any questions. But just in case you do, we'll address those at the end. And also, stick around to the end because we will be giving you the opportunity for 3 lucky winners to be selected at random to win an AOP all over print design hoodie from Subliminator. So stick around and win some cool stuff. We'll do that right at the end. But all right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, Hicham, let's get right into it. What is AOP? What is all over printing?
AOP. So AOP stands for all over print. It's generally the term used for all over printed dye sublimation products, in short.
Okay. And then why, now people out there are wondering, maybe they are familiar with AOP, maybe they're not. Why should somebody spend time making designs? Why should they sell AOP products?
Well, for starters, AOP products generally have a higher perceived value. So you can definitely sell those at a higher price point than you could normally do with a direct-to-garment t-shirt or hoodie. It's a bit more time consuming in terms of designing the product, but in the end, you're going to have a higher profit margin, especially if you're using advertising like Facebook ads, TikTok ads. You're going to spend a lot of money to get some sales. So if you have a higher profit margin, you're going to have a bit more room to play with when you're making those sales.
Okay, yeah, premium product for a premium price. You know, the opportunities are there, as well as you can really make your design stand out because you have that entire garment or product to work with as your canvas, rather than being limited to a single print area. So that's absolutely wonderful. But you mentioned earlier about sublimation printing. Now, maybe a lot of our viewers out there are familiar with direct-to-garment printing or some of the other methods. But what is so special about sublimation? Can you please explain that process for us?
Yeah, so the product itself is made from scratch, right? So it starts with your design that gets printed onto sublimation paper. So this is a special paper that holds the ink really well, and then at some point that print gets transferred onto the fabric that is going to be used for your product. It's going to be pressed onto the fabric at a really high temperature. That's why it also becomes one with the fabric, basically. So when you feel an all over printed hoodie or something, you don't really feel the print. Like when you grab a direct to garment t-shirt, you'll feel that the print is sitting on top of the fabric, so fabric surface, so you kind of feel it. With dye sublimation, you can't really feel the print. It also doesn't fade after washing. It doesn't get hard. Doesn't show any cracks. So that's what allows for sublimation to be such a great and vibrant printing method.
Okay.
After the sublimation, what we basically do, it goes into our laser cutting machines. So then we cut each pattern, each shape of the product. After that, it goes to our sewing team who sews the product together, and then it's shipped out to your customer.
Okay, and that is the cut and sew process that is often associated with AOP products, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't most AOP products going to be mostly polyester rather than cotton, and that is because of the sublimation process? It just works better with polyester.
Correct. Yeah. So there's a limitation in color vibrance. So you can do sublimation on cotton, but then you kind of lose all the color vibrance. There are some fabrics which we also carry on some of the products inside Printify, where we have a fabric which has 20% cotton and then it has 75% polyester. That's kind of the sweet spot where we can still keep the color vibrant and still give you that more like a cotton hand feel on the product instead of that polyester hand feel. So there are some ways to do it, but there's definitely some limitations.
Okay, well, I'm convinced. No, I love the idea of the sublimation printing process. It kind of happens by magic at high temperatures from paper to fabric and really bonds with the material. I love that. So great. I've decided I want to make some all over print products. So let's talk about design and products specifically. What are some common mistakes that people usually make when they start with all over print products?
So a few mistakes that we see is that people kind of confuse direct-to-garment products with all over printed products. So I'm just going to use the term DTG and AOP. I think most people will understand that. So with DTG products, generally you work with a product that's already finished. So you have a t-shirt blank or a hoodie blank, and this product comes in various colors. So you choose the color that you want your t-shirt, and then you put your design on it, and that's it. A common mistake we see with all over print is that people try to replicate what they're doing with direct-to-garment. So they will put a solid black or a solid navy print all over a hoodie, for example, and then they'll put a small design on top of it. So that whole product is going to be sublimated, but you're not really using the whole product as your canvas. And generally, AOP products are more costly than DTG products. So you're basically not using the product to its advantage, and at the same time, you're paying too much for it because you could achieve the same with DTG, right? And then there's people that use AOP to its advantage, but they try to look for the like how far they can go in terms of pushing their designs. Like a common mistake, I can show you that on for example, a football jersey that I have here. Just gonna switch my camera. So a common mistake that people make is this could be a t-shirt, a football jersey, a hoodie. So in this particular case, the football jersey, they have a design on the front side, on this side. What they try to do is they want to make this design continue seamlessly onto the sleeve. It's not possible, and I'll explain why. This is a front side which is flat. If you look at the sleeve is going to be a tube, right? So it's going to be sewn here at the seam. So this is a totally different design direction to have it match from this part to this part. I know some people that think this is possible because they see a mock-up where this was done, but generally the mock-up's actually incorrect and it doesn't actually portray the real product of how it will be once the customer receives it. I think those are two common mistakes that we see quite often, and hopefully we try to make it clear to all the merchants how they can fix this.
Okay. And then, so what are some of the other most frequently asked questions that people come to you with when it comes to AOP designing?
Some of the questions are like, will the print fade after washing, which generally isn't the case with dye sublimation? Or they will ask, like, why can I not offer different body colors? Like, again, they're comparing DTG products with AOP products, where with DTG you have one design that's going to be applied to various colors of a t-shirt. With AOP, you're designing on a white product. So with AOP, the base fabric is always white, right? So using that whole canvas for the product is what they need to understand, and then they're actually designing for that single product. So sometimes people want to make these variations. So they have a hoodie, a all over print hoodie, and they say, hey, I want to offer it in black and navy and in green. And that's what I addressed earlier, where they're not using AOP to its full advantage. Those are two questions from the top of my head that I can think of right now.
Okay. Well, let's talk about designing in particular. What are some tips and tricks you can share with our audience so that they can maximize their all over print potential?
All right. Yeah. So all over print is a totally different process than doing a DTG product. It's a bit more complicated, but once you kind of figure out how to do it, there's some clever ways to do it where you can use a winning design that you probably have on a DTG product, and you can use that actually on an AOP product. I'm just going to switch over to my computer here. I'm in the Printify website, so I'm just going to select a product. I'm going to go with the unisex tank top. And I'm just going to design and show you what the process looks like of using that full canvas of the AOP product, right? So the strength of the product with AOP is that you need to use the full canvas to show a lot of design and element, because that's what the people buy, and that's where the higher perceived value is. So this is the front side of a tank top. I already loaded up some designs. So let's say I have this design of an astronaut. It's actually an astronaut. Normally you would use a design like this on a t-shirt, right? You just put it on the front chest and that's it, and then you're done. And then basically you're dealing with the body colors of that t-shirt. So with AOP, what you can do is you can kind of play with the team, right? So the guy is in space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up a design where I have a space background, and then I can use that for the front side and the back side of the product. So I just need to switch these layers just to organize them. I'm going to rotate this at 90 degrees. I have to make sure that the design is actually exceeding the pattern shape that I have here. Otherwise, if I'm going to put it inside, there's a big chance that I'm going to see the white on the actual product when it gets printed. So that's not something that I want. So I put this here, and then I'm going to go to the back side. I'm going to use the same space design. Again, rotate it 90 degrees, make it slightly bigger. And then I can just preview the design, and then I can see that I actually have a really nice looking tank top, as you can see here, that uses the full canvas of an AOP product for that matter.
Okay. What I love about this is, let's say Astronaut is your most best-selling design. What AOP allows you to do is take that best-selling design and really bring it to the next level by, like you said, using that entire garment as the canvas. So for everyone watching out there, it would be worth it for you to consider taking your best-selling products, and especially now that the holiday season's coming up and people are looking for something interesting and looking for, and there's going to be a lot more people out there, a lot more potential customers, to really apply some of the techniques that we're covering in today's webinar to really bring your most popular designs to the next level and play around with it and have some fun. But the potential for whatever, well, the potential for designing literally has no limits other than the limits of the garments itself. So it's good stuff.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah, and we just added some really cool features to our mockup generator to make this sort of process easier for you. We have the ability to, with the click of a button, apply a design to all print areas automatically. So for instance, you put that astronaut down, boom, click a button, and it instantly covers all available print areas. You know, sleeves. Of course, we're dealing with tank tops now that don't have sleeves. But let's say we were dealing with a hoodie. It would go on the sleeves. It go on the front, the back, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one way that we're making it easier for you. And also, you demonstrated there that tool that kind of turns the design, you know, horizontally and vertically. That's also something that makes the process easier. And if I would like to make an announcement to everybody, because this is not something that you'll see available in the in the mockup generator yet. You people watching at home are going to be the first people to even hear this announcement. We have what's called the pattern tool that's going to be coming up, where you can take a single design and then with a click of a button turn it into a pattern. And we'll get into how that's beneficial in terms of all over printing a little bit later. But that is going to be rolled out to our merchants, free of charge, of course, as part of the mockup generator in the next few days. So you're hearing it first, and keep your eyes open for that when it becomes available. Okay, good. That's enough for me. Now, any other tips and tricks for designing?
Yeah, well, you're gonna make that process easier in the editor. For anybody that likes to make it more complicated, I like to show how you can actually create your own seamless pattern inside a software like Photoshop. Or Canva or anything. I'm going to show it in Photoshop, but the base principle would still remain the same. Let me just quickly remove all these layers here. So again, I'm going back to the astronaut design that I had earlier. In this case, I want to create a seamless pattern out of it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this layer and drag it over here. I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to select both layers. I'm going to drag them down a little bit. And then I want another one in the middle here, and then probably a little bit smaller, just to have a little bit of variation in that seamless pattern. So to create a seamless pattern, what you need to do is you need to find one spot that you can use as a repeatable point to create the pattern. I'll explain to you what that means. So what I'm going to go for is I'm going to go for the point of this star here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to create a rectangle. So as you can see, the corner is exactly where the star is. So what I'm going to do is I want to drag and drag this rectangle to the next star that's over here. And I'm going to check manually if it's correct or not. Looks like I moved it a little bit. Let me see where it starts here. Okay, so there it is. And then I'm gonna make it slightly bigger to have that same point. And then I'm gonna go down to the other image. Again, I want it to end exactly at the point of this star here. And then I don't need to do the last one because that one will automatically be positioned correct. So this is actually my repeat pattern that I just created. So I'm just going to drag it here and put it a little bit on the center of each of the 4 images. I'm going to select this layer, and then I'm going to crop it. So now I'm stuck with exactly that rectangle that I created. So this is basically my repeat pattern. So what I'm going to do here, let me just drag this up a little bit. So I have these layers here. So I have these 5 shapes that I copied, and I'm going to merge them into a single layer. And then to create a pattern out of it, I can just go into Edit and then Define Pattern. And then I can give it a name, Astronaut. So that's my astronaut pattern. And then what I can do is test it. I can create a new document. I'm going to fill it with black because that's kind of the background that I want to have here. And then I'm going to double click the layer, and I'm going to go to Pattern Overlay because that's where the pattern that I just created gets saved. I go to Pattern Overlay, and then here's the pattern that I just created. As you can see, now I have a seamless pattern of what I just created. And then I can save this as a really large image, and then I can kind of use it inside any of the AOP products that I want to design. So that's a flash course on how you can create a pattern. There's a lot of tools out there as well, including the one from Printify that you can use to make your life easier. If you want to do more than there are capable in the online options, you can always try to learn this method inside Photoshop or any other software that can allow it.
Okay, and we should make a distinction here between seamless patterns and what you described earlier about people who think that if being able to line up from one print area to another with a specific design, like let's say astronaut is you want him to continue from one print area to another. That's not possible. But when we say seamless, we mean putting one of these patterns up on print areas, and it gives you the appearance of a pattern that continues from one to another. So I think that's an important distinction to make. But good stuff. I love the astronaut guy too. Is that something you came up with yourself?
No, I didn't design it myself, but it's one of the designs that we offer.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So great. Let's talk products, okay? Because people are going to want to know which products are the best to sell for AOP. So let's start with you at Subliminator. And that's what I love about you guys, is because you guys offer some very unique products that you can't find with other print providers. So let's talk about about the cool stuff you offer, and then I want to talk about best-selling AOP products that sold last year for the holidays. So take it away, Hicham. Let's talk about Subliminator and some products.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of unique products where we also try to combine different fabrics. I mean, if we look at the baseball jersey again, football jersey again, I'm not sure if the camera is going to be able to capture that detail, but you have the top part, you have the top area here, and then you have the sleeves. This is actually a different fabric than you have at the bottom here. So at the bottom, we actually use a mesh polyester fabric, and then on the top, we use a more solid polyester fabric. It's a small detail. I can probably show it on the camera if I can get it some kind of a zoom. It's too dark. Oh, there you go. So I think you can see that this is the mesh fabric, and this is the more solid fabric. So so that's one of the things that we do. We don't try to compromise on the quality of the product. We try to make a really good product that everybody can sell. This is a really great product to sell football jerseys. Baseball jerseys have been doing really well, not only for people that like baseball, but also for people that just like to wear it outside. They just put a general design on it. So whatever niche you're selling in, you can just put the design on the baseball jerseys, and it will be selling really well because it's a really popular product. I would say for heading into the holiday season, hoodies are always good. Sweatshirts are also really good, especially sweatshirts where people like to put ugly Christmas designs on them for like the Christmas party they have at their office or at home with their family. Those are always selling really well during the holiday season. I think that will be our top three. I mean, I would say blankets are always selling well, especially in the colder areas as we're heading into the holiday season. Hooded blankets could be an interesting product to look at. Yeah, I think that's 5 good products that I mentioned right there.
Okay. And don't sleep on those pajamas you guys have. Those are super cool. Pajamas for Christmas, they always spike. I mean, and when you talk about getting a gift for somebody that you don't really know what to get them, I mean, pajamas are always good. You know, it's like, oh, I need to get something for my niece. Pajamas, there you go. Because you can't give her a mug. She's not drinking coffee yet. But anyways, I promised our viewers out there that I'd talk about our best-selling AOP products from last holiday season, and from top to bottom, from best-selling to on down. Number one with a bullet is socks. Socks, yeah. Socks are the number one seller. People love socks. People love socks for Halloween. People love socks for Christmas. I mean, think about it. How many pairs of socks have you gotten for Christmas over the years? And for all you niche merchants, there's always a way for you to come up with some cool sock patterns that really highlight the and target the customers that you're going after. Okay. And then also the blankets. You mentioned the blankets. Yeah, no brainer. Blankets are always big for the holidays, but those are the top 2 products, like by far. And then we get into the unisex AOP t-shirt, and then we get leggings. Leggings are always popular. And then the PJs, as we mentioned before, and then, you know, the sweatshirts and the hoodies and stuff like that. But that's not to say those other products aren't going to sell well, like those all over print joggers that you guys sell. Those are always cool, and you're able to take your designs to the next level with them. So there's all kinds of possibilities, but do yourselves a favor, everyone out there, take some time, go through the Printify catalog, click on AOP products, and just let your mind run wild about the possibilities and what you can do with your designs and what your customers may want this year under the tree. Okay. So now that we're talking about products and selling products, one of the biggest concerns I hear from people when talking about AOP products is that they are generally shipping from China. You guys are shipping from China. What would you say to a merchant that had concerns about their products being shipped from China?
I would say I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, if your communication towards your customer is good. I mean, you can explain that the product is custom made. It doesn't get made after it's ordered. You can explain that you're kind of going against what the big companies are doing, instead of overproducing and just keeping everything in stock. You don't produce it until it gets ordered. I think that's a good way to inform the customer that it can take longer. So generally for production, you're looking at about between 5 to 7 days to get the product made. And then depending on the shipping method, so if we're looking at the most popular country to ship to, which is the USA, regular shipping can take, I would say, around 12 calendar days. Of course, this becomes a little bit slower during the holiday season because USPS gets backlogged and whatnot. Then we also offer the option to upgrade an order to Express. I believe that's also possible within Printify. Express shipping is phenomenal. I mean, we get orders delivered in 2-3 days. So then you're looking at around 8 to 9 days to get a custom product made and delivered to the customer, which is pretty amazing. So if you're using Express, in a lot of cases, it might even be faster than using a AOP product manufactured in the US because of the express shipping that we're using.
Okay, and it's important to get across to the merchants out there listening that shipping times are they are what they are, but you need to account for that on your storefront so that your customers know what they're getting. I mean, if they order from you on December 20th, thinking that they're going to get an AOP product under the tree by Christmas Eve, well, you're going to have a disappointed customer. So as long as you're upfront and honest with them, I see no real issue. And since China is the best source for this, I think it's a win-win combination. So anybody out there hesitant, I think it's worth trying, just as long as your customers know what to expect up front. And you can provide, I mean, we provide you with the tracking links. They can follow it the whole way. I mean, everything happens normally. And of course you have that express shipping option too. And if you're charging a premium price for a premium product, well, you can consider folding in some of these shipping charges, either standard or express, along with that, and create an entire package and present it and present that as a value proposition to your customers. So, okay, great. So let's talk about the products for a premium price, the pricing strategy. What do you have to say about that in terms of how to price a product?
So from what I know and from what I see, and I see this especially with people just starting out in print on demand, they always price their AOP products too low. What I see is that the people that sell a lot, they have a really high margin on products. And then people that don't sell a lot always have an actually really low margin. Let me just quickly switch my camera before it turns off. You can still hear me, right?
Oh yeah, I hear you.
All right, good. All right, so if I would look at our best-selling merchants, if I would take like the baseball jersey as an example, some people will price this at, that are just starting out, they will price it at, I don't know, $40, $45, while the people that are really selling a lot of this product are pricing this at $80. So they have like a $40+ margin on that product, and they're really selling a lot. So I think the mindset is important for merchants, where they don't have to think they are the customer, as long as they're within their niche, their customer is willing to pay that. And the only way to know that is to actually do it. So most of the time they start selling low, then they run some ads, they lose money because Facebook is very expensive these days, and they end up giving up instead of actually testing out a higher pricing on that product for that niche. Most of the time, you'll see that it actually turns out to be much better to get more sales instead of putting it on a lower price point.
Okay, yeah. So don't sell yourself short when it comes to pricing AOP products. Again, it's a premium product for a premium price, and the perceived value is there if you're on point with your designs. Because again, it's so different than the DTG method where you have a single print area on the front, or maybe one on the back or something like that. I mean, it's visually stunning, that, and especially if you're combining it with some of those with some of the artwork that we saw you demonstrate. So don't sell yourself short, and really give the advice that Hicham provided about pricing some thought. People always come to me and ask me about products in which they can get a decent markup on. Well, here's one of your answers, okay? And Subliminator as an AOP solution for merchants, I think that's directly on point. Is there anything you would like to add here at the end of today's presentation about why they should choose Subliminator over some of the competition?
Well, I think we offer one of the best qualities out there in terms of cut and sew products. We pay attention to details. We make sure that the stitching color is always matching with the product, etc. But I would say, don't believe me, don't believe what I'm saying. Always, and this applies not just to Subliminator, but to any print provider that you use, always order a sample. See how the fulfillment time is, see how the quality of the product is, because a mock-up will never give you the full view of the product quality and the whole customer experience. So order a sample for yourself, see what it's like, see what it looks like, see what it feels like, wash it, etc., and then make your own decision on if this product is what you want to sell to your customers.
Truer words have never been spoken. Order samples, people. Get that product in your hand. And again, like Hicham mentioned, so you can get that full customer experience, so you know exactly what your customers are going to be going through on their end, okay? And plus, you get a nice AOP hoodie to wear for yourself, or a nice Subliminator product, okay? Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. I really hope everybody out there learned something about AOP products and designs, but I promised that I would answer some questions. Hicham, are you ready to answer some questions?
Definitely.
Okay, all right, let me go to my little sheet here. Okay, Pam asked a good question here. Pam asked, how do I get artwork for AOP designs?
There's many ways to do this. I know there are some services out there that actually provide specific designs for AOP. You could also do your own searching through, for example, Instagram, looking for certain tags. And then if you find a specific design that you like, you can contact the designer and ask them what their pricing is to make a custom design. You could go to websites like Fiverr, where you can search for designers as well. I know that there are some print-on-demand designers on Fiverr as well. A website like Upwork, where you can post a job to find a designer, whether it be for one design or you want somebody to hire them as a designer for your brand. There's a couple of options out there.
Okay. Yeah, and of course we have the Printify Experts program here at Printify, where you can connect with Printify approved experts in, say, design or store building or marketing, whatever it might be. So you can connect with some of those designers through the Experts program and describe your design for them, and they'll be happy to whip up a design to your specifications. But in a lot of cases, you already have these designs. You can use that pattern tool that I mentioned that's going to be coming out in just a few days to sort of create those seamless designs yourself. So in a lot of cases, you already have the design. So I encourage you to kind of play around with that, okay? But thank you very much for your question, Pam. Okay. Tara, all right. Tara asks, she asked that the Printify marketplace says that Subliminator is in China. We covered that, yes. But do you have a local USA production, or is it only from China? And how long is the delivery time? If you could mention that just one more time.
Yeah, so we only manufacture in our own factory in China. Production is about 5 to 7 days on average. I believe it's mentioned for each product inside the Printify app as well. And then regular shipping is around 12 calendar days on average. And then express shipping is about 2 to 3 days shipping on average.
Okay. Okay, and Tara has one more question that I want to address too. She says she paints her designs in real life and then photographs them. Would that be good for all over printing?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just make sure that the image is really high quality, and that you're paying attention to the lighting. Because I mean, if you're photographing with studio lighting or bedroom lighting or something like that, it's going to be yellowish. But I think it's definitely a good option to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you for the questions, Tara. Dan asks, should white areas be white in the design file or transparent?
Doesn't really matter how you do it. In the end, we make everything flat. So in the end, it becomes a flat image. So anything that's transparent will be white, unless what you're making transparent behind it has a color. Of course, then you're kind of missing the point of making it white. So I mean, for your convenience, maybe it's easier to use white. If not, transparency is also fine, because in the end, we make all the layers that you have inside the mockup generator. It becomes one flat image.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Be Happy and Smart asks how they get vibrant colors. Do they add more layers, or is that or how do you get vibrant colors?
I mean, normally what you see is what you get, up to a limitation. Some people try to achieve neon colors with AOP products, which is technically possible, but not a lot of print providers provide this. We don't provide this either. Neon colors require a special neon inks, so you need special inks to do the neon printing. But generally, depending on the setting and the calibration that these printers have with these different print providers, the print quality and vibrance is pretty good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Be Happy and Smart. Appreciate it. And thank you very much for joining us for today's webinar. Moving on, Christopher. Hi, Christopher. What is the best way to provide a description of the AOP process for a customer? How can they understand why this product is better than a traditional print product?
Well, you can explain to them that after they place the order, the product is then first printed, then it's cut, then it's sewn, and then it's checked. Then it has like a quality check, and then it's packed and shipped to them. So it's made to order specifically for them after they place the order.
Sure, and it's crafted by real human beings instead of just put under a machine and printed. I mean, there's a whole process to it, and I think instead of describing it, just show a picture of just how awesome and cool they are. I think that works. That would work wonders too. But Christopher, don't skimp on the keywords as well. Don't skimp on the keywords and do some keyword research on that. I wish we had time to get into that today, but a quick Google search will get you on your way. Okay. Okay, and will Subliminator or Printify offer the option of branding products? This is something I can probably answer. I hope so someday. I know it's something that we would love to do, and we're working on. Whether it will become reality at some point, I think the answer is, well, at some point, yes, but I cannot tell you when. Whether it'll be next year or the year after, it's just we have a very unique way of the way we set up. So. Good of the way we set up. So keep your eyes peeled, and we will let you know. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Andrea, and that was from Andrea. Thank you so much, Andrea. Ray with 3 Ys. Hi, Ray. Thank you so much. Asks, will any more Subliminator products be added to Printify, in particular kids stuff? Okay.
I do know that the Printify team is working on adding more products. I don't know exactly the order in which they are coming, but it's definitely a work in progress.
Okay, so stay tuned. We're adding new products all the time. I think we have like 700 products, and we're adding new ones every week. So it's only a matter of time, likely. Okay, so stay tuned. Check our new products page on our catalog on a weekly basis, because there's new stuff there all the time, and especially in our ramp up to the holidays. Okay, you never know what that next best holiday must-have product is going to be. So there you go. Okay, and we have one more question. Thank you so much, everybody. Xavier, thank you very much, Xavier, for joining us today. Is there something we need to do in order to get a glossy look to the text or the pictures? The samples you look are not as glossy as you would like. So is there any sort of trick to get it glossy?
Well, glossy is more a effect that is on top of a fabric instead of just a print. I mean, with AOP, you're just printing the product. I mean, you can fake it to make it look glossy as an effect, something you could probably do in like Photoshop or something. But the downside is that your customer could expect it to be really glossy, like they could feel it that it's glossy, and then it would look nice on a mock-up, but then the end product is just a flat print where nothing is really glossy. So I think that could be confusing for your customer. What I would say, like I mentioned earlier, test out what you're trying to achieve. Look what the mock-up looks like, order the product for yourself, and see if the result is what you want it to be.
Yeah, and from my experience, I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody, if any end-use customers asking for something to be glossy, more glossy. But maybe that's the niche that you're focusing on, Xavier. So, but I don't know. This industry is evolving and at all times. So stay tuned in the future. We may be able to offer you what you want. Okay. All right. Our last question from Trent. Thank you, Trent. What DPI does your product support? For example, is the hoodie 300 DPI all over?
So generally with clothing and with dye sublimation, there's no visual difference between 150 DPI and 300 DPI. So if you want to upload 300 DPI, that's fine, 600, whatever. As long as you don't go below the 150 DPI, then you should be fine in terms of keeping that image sharp and looking crystal clear.
Okay, that's good advice. That's good advice. Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Hicham. That is the end of our questions. Thank you, everyone that submitted a question. If we didn't get to your question today, then my apologies. But I hope everybody out there learned something today about AOP and is willing to consider AOP products moving into the holidays to take your designs to the next level. Again, use that entire garment as your canvas to really bring your designs to life. And again, as Hicham described, it's a great way to sell a premium product for a premium price. Okay, Hicham, we promised everyone out there a trivia question. Okay, so what we're going to ask you to do is, after Hicham reads off the trivia question, we're going to go ahead and put into the chat a link to a very super short survey where you'll be able to answer that trivia question and also give us a little bit of feedback about how we did today and what you'd like to see from us in the future. It's only like 3-4 questions long, won't take much of your time, but 3 of you will be randomly selected to win an AOP hoodie from Subliminator, and I'll get in contact with each one of you to get your addresses and sizes so we get you exactly what you want. But okay, Hicham, please hit us with that trivia question.
So the trivia question is it possible to make your AOP hoodie, if you have a design on the front side, is it possible to make that design on the front side continue seamlessly onto the sleeve?
Ooh, okay. And I know we covered that at least twice in the webinar, so I hope you were paying attention. But click that link, answer the trivia question, give us a little bit of feedback on how Hicham and I did today. And again, hope you learned something. 3 random winners will be selected to get that hoodie. We'll be in contact with you. But that is it for now. Please join us for our next webinar, which will be later in September, I believe on the 29th, where we'll be doing part 2 of our holiday preparation webinar. Join us for that. But in the meantime, Hicham, thank you so much for your time. I really think you provided some really super cool information, and we're going to have a lot more people out there doing AOP design. So again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, Martin. It was great to do.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you. Join us next time.